What's up, guys, and welcome back. Thanks so much for hanging with us. Our party finally has defeated the great worm that lies underneath Steelhammer Stronghold. Taking in their hands the golden hammer of Haron and Molnar, they found it has an incredible magical effect upon any dwarf who looks at it, causing them to go mad and violent in an attempt to grab it for themselves. Deciding that the fate of Karadmorn may be better, if the hammer was destroyed once and for all, they tossed it into the lava pool that surrounds the statue of Haron and Molnar. And with a great magical effect, veins of ore began to spread about the cavern, arcing their way on up towards Steelhammer Stronghold, rejuvenating their long-lost minds. Our party made their way on up, ascending through the mines, getting the body of the long-lost honored elder Iraq, as they had promised previously before. They make their way to the elevator, and using the mechanism, ascending back into Steelhammer Stronghold. And when you emerge, none other than the young dwarf Ra'un is awaiting you. And he goes, you found Iraq. What happened to our men down there?
They fell into lava.
Well, it's a long story. We found Haronan's crypt. His hammer seemed to drive them mad.
By Moradin. Well, Vinveriak will have to hear about it. Come on, follow me.
The Elder imparted some wisdom on us.
He said
right?
clerics in the throne room would be able to speak with the dead and get the information out of him.
I feel like we should tell Raoun before we get to the throne room. Some of the stuff that the Elder told us, which was that his dad closed the mines, right? Knowing that
the hammer was down there, awaiting for a party much like yourselves to defeat the worm so that he could take it for himself. Or best, to die to the worm, weaken it so that he can take it for himself.
Right, so I suppose Gilroy, with the approval of the party, offers that information up to the young dwarvish prince.
Yeah, okay. And as you're walking along the lattice ways of Steelhammer Stronghold, these perfect rectangular corridors that crisscross between each other, each street having its own designation, dwarves working about, very few taking note of you, all very invested in their current work. And Raoun, as you're explaining this to him, the ring of hammers about in the streets, turns back to you for a moment with solemn eyes. He goes, I always knew something had happened to me father. And about 10 years ago, he went on an expedition down into the mines. And when he came back up, he was changed. It wasn't many months later that they collapsed, and I always suspected something, but I couldn't betray my own father. He used to be a good man. Don't set him straight for the executioner's block, if you could. I understand that things might have gone wrong here, but maybe we can come to some sort of agreement, especially if the corruption of that hammer's gone.
Well, the matters of your father are a bit more complicated than just slaying him. Yes, I think that's quite possible after seeing your brethren's reaction to the hammer. It seemed to quite affect them, and no doubt it had a similar effect on your father. Fortunately, possibly, the hammer's gone now, and, your elder here may be able to explain some of that. I don't think what your dad did was completely wrong in the end. It may have saved you a lot of trouble.
I'll go get the honored elders. They'll be able to speak with him. And Raoun separates from you quickly, marching on down along as you make your way to the very center of the hammer where that circular throne space is, and you guys are left at the gates. However, within a minute, Raoun returns with a familiar face, a robed dwarf who you recognize as the leader of Clan Groven, who you had assisted in defeating a white dragon wormling back in Sarangar. And as he unfurls his hood, dressed in ceremonial robes, it looks as though he's finally off the road. He looks up at you and he goes, how the hell did you get here so fast? We've been on the road for 2 months. What? Yeah, that's no matter.
We have a great wagon driver. He really knows his way around the countryside.
He gives a hearty laugh as he pushes open the door, beckoning you guys inside, and goes, I'm doubtful that's all of it. And you guys once again see the beautiful jewel mosaic of Heron and Molnar that spreads all across the ceiling and walls of this space, and there sits grimly Vinveriac, his face dark, next to him, Raoun taking the smaller throne at his side. Mayor Beneval is on a corner of this room, along with Godric and her guard. Hiron and his elves also are present. The rest of the honored elders, as you have heard that they're a reasonable-sized council, who would normally be here as counselors and advisors, are not, with the exception of the Clan Grogan leader. And you guys enter on in. You see, he gazes upon you and looks at Arak's body. He goes, "What have you brought us?"
This is the king?
Yeah, Vinveriac.
You're welcome.
A lot happened in the mine.
Is that so? I'm impressed you made it.
You seem it.
We go into a lot of rich people's dungeons and make it out just fine.
You guys lay Arak's body,
Yes.
and the leader of Clan Groven goes
Yes.
about doing a ritual with some oils and whatnot, as well as some stones that he places in such a way around the body. And he gives a push on his chest, and suddenly it seems as though with the decompression, the body... And you can hear him. "What is it?" Clan Groven, the leader, he goes, "Tell us what you know!" And Arak begins to speak, spinning the tale of how he was left in the mines, abandoned as they were collapsing. However, not due to the Great Worm, no doubt they were exploded, collapsed via black powder, and left for dead down there for many days. He, no doubt, indicates Vinveriac's doing in this, as he had led Vinveriac into the crypts where Heron and Molnar had been left, and his golden hammer resides. And as he explains this, Vinveriac sinks further and further back into his seat. The mayor steps forth and goes, "Vinveriac, I believe it's about time you step down from this throne." He turns towards you.
Perhaps it's time he retires.
Yes. A closely watched retirement. You may be permitted to live in Steelhammer Stronghold, but Vinveriac spits on the ground and goes, "You will not take this throne from me!" The mayor looks around and beckons for Godric to go and restrain him. Godric, the Goliath, her champion, makes his way on up, places his hands on Vinveriac's shoulder and goes, "You'll be coming with me now." Picks him on up, takes him on out of the room.
And the dwarves let that happen? I mean,
The other elders, the rest,
sympathetic
after
to-
listening to Arak, most of them are taken aback. They don't seem to be reacting in any way. They're thinking, deep in contemplation, with the exception of Mayor Benevel, who knows exactly, it seems, what to do at the moment. She's taking action, whereas the rest are only thinking on what they've just heard. Rune, on the other hand, he seems grateful. He seems like he knew that someday this would be an inevitable outcome, and this is about as good as it could have gone.
I think Leander's gonna draw his sword and raise it in the air and kind of kneel with it, placed in his hands, and kind of says something along the lines of, "The dwarves perhaps now can be returned to greatness, their minds restored, and a new king with a council of honored elders to advise him. Long live King Raoun."
And many, including the dwarves in this space, resound to your call. And long live King Raoun! And King Raoun takes his seat in the greater throne. He seems to, get comfortable in it for a moment. A bit bigger than I thought. And the mayor goes up next to his side. And looking down, they say, "Let's bring in the council. It's about time we settle things here in Carragmore."
quietly as possible as to not disturb the moment, Mealy is going to whisper to Jar, "You missed your chance to jump on that throne."
I don't really want it. 2 kings is more than enough for 1 kingdom right now.
There goes your statue.
And so the gates open as Mayor Benevel's ogre guards permit the honored elders in. They shuffle in formation, one at a time. It appears there's about 11 of them, with the exception of Clan Groven's leader, making 12. And they circle about the room in a semicircle before the throne, and permit you guys up along kind of the throne stage, where Mayor Benevel, now Godric and Rune sit, as well as Hiron off to the side, observing the entirety of this. He has his elf guards there. They have their hands on the hilts of their sword, however, it's entirely a symbolic "we're keeping the peace" thing, and you have a feeling that they wouldn't even make a move if something were to occur. And as the honored elders enter, they all kneel to King Rune, and then standing, they go, "We've much to discuss, but we could use your advisement as well. First off, Mayor Benevel and Waterwheel. I believe, well, the mayor may as well have an honorary space on the throne. If we're to solidify our agreement with their peoples, especially those who they permit to live within the boundaries of Waterwheel, then we'll have to put some legitimacy behind the Benevel name. Do you agree?
Most definitely.
Then it will be written in stone. The Benevels have claim over that land, just as rightful a claim as any member of Clan Monarch. Now, let's see. The fortresses by the border, we sold them off. They've been long abandoned and now belong to Farrenwell. They're sturdily built. Someday we may like to reclaim them, but the Caradmore is nowhere near strong enough, not even with Waterwheel's assistance. How would you have us contribute? If the mines are filled once more, we may be able to supply weapon and armory for your whatever force you can muster when the time comes.
I think that would be more than enough.
We'll have the forges roaring within a week. However, at this moment, Melee, make me a wisdom saving throw.
Get plus 3.
Yeah, for being in proximity to Leander.
Oh, 11?
Okay. No worries.
Not my best roll of the evening.
The honored elder continues. He goes, Farrenwell has their eyes on us. Sarengar they already subjugated, but we managed to evade that by burrowing ourselves away. If we were to make a front, when their legions come marching our way, could we rely on some other kingdom for help? Do you have any contact that could send men for us? We don't have enough dwarves these days.
Sarengar has an abundance of men willing to fight for just about any cause.
Sarengar, those wildlings.
I just kind of...
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of take it as to heart a little bit at the same time.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can see some of the honored elders whisper back and forth among each other and consider. And one steps forth and goes, "We would gladly accept their aid. Seems now's not the time for the old prejudices."
Yes, well, we're in contact with their Jarl, and he seems quite amenable to our cause as well, so we'll send word and establish communication.
Very well. Finally, are you looking for some kind of payment? We understand that you've done a great deed for us, and we can promise armor and weapons for the years to come, but is there any way we can help right now? Information you need. We don't have much gold in the treasury these days, but we do have some older weapons and armor. Or we could go to work on yours.
Anything would be accepted that you're willing to give us. I doubt we're out of the thick of it yet.
For all you've done, returning your rock, slaying the great worm, ridding us of this curse, I'd say we could take a look at your equipment in the least. You're free. And his gaze stops upon you for a moment, Jar, and you see this honored elder shake it off, and he goes, You're free to stay in Steelhammer Stronghold for as long as you like. And whenever you return, you'll return as honored guests.
By the way, the main road to Steelhammer Stronghold seems to be blocked. We had to take quite a roundabout route.
Yes. Vinvariak, I suppose, in his paranoia, made it so. It was his command, but Ra'un goes, not his command anymore. The honored elders go, very well. The main gate shall be open for you.
Thank you.
So I suppose we'll... Oh, go ahead. We'll find some lodging and think about
Absolutely.
what we want to do.
Yeah, you guys meet back up with those companions which you had brought with you in the evening. You have Gentel, Clara, Arena, Zorn, Bilberry, Godric, Hiron and his elves, and the mayor also join you in what is a beautiful tavern.
Sure.
Yeah, a absolutely immaculate, gold-plated doors, gorgeous tavern. The stools are gem-encrusted, everything about this space. Let me think up a name. Screw your coppers. the name of the place. All the drinks cost 5 gold at least, but they're all free for you through the evening. And yeah, you guys regroup with the majority of your companions. And Arena, walking on up to you, Leander goes, this has been a most intriguing stay in Steelhammer Stronghold. We may very well be some of the first non-dwarves in centuries to come here. And they lock us up in this tavern. What have you guys been up to?
Oh, jeez. Refilling the largest mine in history with all the ores it could ever need. Killing a purple worm of slightly less than gargantuan size. Destroying the most legendary weapon of all of Alaire. It's been a busy day. Instilling a new king in a long dwarvish kingdom.
When you put it all that way, we did get a lot done. Arena taking it back. Clara in the background sips at some wine, wide-eyed.
Retracing the steps of the most legendary dwarf lord to ever live.
As you're taking a seat at the bar as you go on about all this. All right. Zorn and Bilberry look as though they've been having a good time here. Bilberry has some conspicuous looking rings on his fingers, obviously of dwarvish design. Zorn is speaking with him about them. Gentel looks pretty uncomfortable here. She seems a little claustrophobic at the moment, much preferring the open sky and fields and whatnot. And the surrounding company, with the exception of your very close companions, is not particularly her kind of company. However, she seems to be managing just fine. In the evening, you guys are met with some dwarvish artisans. They will take an item from you, your choice, and bump it up from a +2 to a +3 or a +1 to a +2, but nothing above +3.
I will give my Sunblade.
Okay.
So I'll bump that up.
They also promise some scrolls for you, Gilroy.
Okay. Is there something I can do here?
They take your armor as well.
Might you have any scarves?
I don't think he's +3 on it.
What? What do you think the silk industry is like around here?
Spider
You can
silk
also
is
choose
a-
this in retrospect. There's not going to be any, so you can just message me on it if you want to. So you're going to do the Sunblade though, Tyler?
Yeah.
Anyone else know exactly what they're going to do right now? If you want to consider this and just message me about it later, that's no big deal.
I think Bloodletter, since it is like a dwarvish weapon.
It is, yeah. Yeah, so they
Oh,
take it, and when it is
yeah,
returned to you,
Mhm.
it has additional dwarvish runes on it, but they speak of Erlon the Strong, Slayer of the Great Worm.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and they seem to, well, you wouldn't know quite yet, but just in having it in your hands, the gnarled wood of the handle, the heft of the blade of the axe and whatnot, those new runes along the edge, which is sharper than ever. Though you won't see it yet. When you fill yourself with that battle fury, summoning up your ancestors beside you, the runes begin to glow a deep scarlet red.
Awesome.
Anyone else want anything specific, or are you guys good? We'll take care of the rest of that later.
Take some scrolls.
Yeah, I'll roll up some scrolls for you as well. They have a few very old-looking and powerful-looking magical scrolls for you to make use of. And so, is there anything more you guys would like to do in Steelhammer Stronghold? These modifications take 5 to 7 days or so. Those magic items, obviously.
I would like to keep Clara from flirting, so I'm going to
So you kind of keep her
Just
separate from Hiram?
block as much as possible, keep buying her drinks.
Okay, yeah. Hiram, much like Chantel, seems like he would be glad to be out of here ultimately, though he does spend the next week or so among the dwarves, along with you guys, probably awaiting for you to leave so that he can get his final parting. He has long, boring days in the throne room, watching new laws be written, watching the Benevels become officiated, so on and so forth. And by the time he emerges in the evenings every night, he definitely looks more exhausted than ready for any sort of fun like that.
Was there an official like coronation ceremony?
Yes, there will be.
That's
In about the 6th day, while you're there, there is an official ceremony, a great feast, and the halls are lit. In particular, one big ceremony that they have you partake in is a walk through the Elder Hold, that great crypt, the very first of the mines and whatnot that were built in this mountain. And however, a completely different feeling this time, as they are lit with magical flames that spew forth from torches and whatnot. When you first made your way in, it was solemn, cold, and dark. Now, this time, there's a warmth of respect and honor and tradition that seems to just be emitting from this ceremony. A bit of a, not a parade, but a march on through this space. And you definitely feel as though you've become accepted in this culture. Even those of you who may very well be spit upon by dwarves in other parts of the world have proved yourself among these peoples.
So would Jar, just to play that out, like, would he be perhaps allowed access to the archives or something?
Yeah,
As
oh
honored,
yes, yeah, at this point,
savior
yes.
of, alright, so he'll probably be spending a good chunk of his time in the archives or libraries of Steelhammer, just looking for anything of interest.
I'll tell you what you find.
Okay.
I'll make some notes and stuff.
Alrighty.
And ultimately, that tradition, this march, culminates in them marking out a large space for the Benevels to be buried within, which is only reserved for the most honored elders. You know how it is. Now, anything more here?
Can I get a ring?
What kind of ring?
Just one that says.
Just the one?
Yes, the big one.
Yeah.
No, I'd like one that just says I'm good in the books with the.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Stealing.
Watch
No,
Short and Albarans and be like,
if you were to request from some artisan some sort of denotation of your honor among these people, you all will receive then some rings, as Gilroy would order them. That would denote, unless you'd want a necklace or something, that bear the symbol of Clan Molnar and denote that you are within good honors with them and the dwarves of Caradmorin.
Sweet. I think I'd want to go to like a tattoo person.
Oh,
Get some more
absolutely.
tattoos
Yeah,
on my
yeah.
body.
All right.
Jar would take a necklace. A ring might be a little bit too.
Add to my story.
Gets away.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not magical. Yeah, let's go with the necklace.
Yeah, there's a lot that you guys actually can get done here. But yeah, after a good long tattoo session with a dwarf who seems to be himself covered in tattoos, of course. He seems to have practiced this trade for a good few hundred years.
Nice.
He's, very skillful. Anything in particular that you would like marked, or?
Probably just like the symbol of Clan Molnar.
Okay, sure, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so they reverently put that upon you in black dwarvish ink. So, anything more?
I'd like to. We have stones of sending to. How do we talk to
You
Sibelius?
have message notes.
Scrolls.
Yeah, you still have like 18 or something of those left.
But it's not really two-way, right?
No, let's just deliver a message.
Yeah.
Seems like
Okay.
Sibelius.
Well, yeah, I mean, clearly he talks to us.
yeah, he can get in contact
Yeah.
through the seeing pool pretty easily.
Well, I will pen a message to. Oh, I have 2 rings now. The ring of hide alignment too.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
Just this squat bald guy with all these rings. Like, I'm not sure if that's what you want to be putting out there.
Yeah. He's like from the Jersey Shore.
Oh, jeez.
Baron William Shore. All right, so I'm gonna pen a message to Sibelius.
Okay.
That sort of gives a rundown.
Well, if you were to wait in the center of your, if you were to wait by the water pool, eventually he would be in contact with you after some days.
Okay.
So you, unless you want to do this like immediately after going.
I mean, it's basically going to be like contact us
Okay,
ASAP.
So, all right. So you send him a message that says contact us ASAP,
Yeah.
and that night you await by the pool, and Sibelius's fat shape appears before the waters, lit by this torchlight, and he blinks and, anybody there? Whoa. Oh, Gilroy, I got your message. What's going on?
Sibelius, last we spoke, I believe we were in the mines, right?
Or here. I think we were here.
I can't remember.
This is all mines to me.
Fair enough. Yes. Well, it was before, at any rate, we took down the great purple worm and seated a new king of dwarves and destroyed the hammer of that ancient dwarf.
Baronin Monar.
Baronin, yes.
Right.
We've come a long ways in just a few hours, and things are looking good here. The king...
He looks thoroughly impressed. He's like, this is all truth, Gilroy.
I swear it on my... And I hold up the ring of hide alignment. I swear it on Silas's life. Yes. No, things are looking quite a bit more structured here in Caradmorn, and I hope things are well. Your last messages were promising. They'll be looking for men, of course. The halls around here can be quite empty at times. But the mountain is refilled with resources to field an army.
Incredible.
But I was wondering...
Downplayed it a little bit for Sibelius. I'm sorry.
Nice.
Bailey walks on by.
Put all our eggs in one basket.
As Gilroy shouting by the pool, like, ah! I was wondering if you could make an introduction for me.
To whom?
The rest of the Midnight Court. I think we've proven ourselves, or at the very least I have.
No doubt. No, you have proven yourselves, Gilroy. When you made your way to Caradmorn, I didn't suspect you'd make your way even to the first settlement you came across. There's a just absolutely blasted dangerous land. And I am thoroughly impressed. Very fortunate that we came across each other. In fact, it does feel as though the fates must be leading your way. A meeting with the Midnight Court. I could arrange, well, at least with one other. We're not all on the best terms, you see.
Yes.
But I do have a good friend in Alaire. He'd be more than willing to speak with you, I'm sure. a count of sorts. He lives in Sumedia. If you make your way down that way, send message, and I'll make for a meeting.
Appreciate that very much, Sibelius. We'll be heading back to Waterwheel, I imagine. And from there, possibly to Ellenveer. Send our regards to the Jarl.
Of course, he's been quite busy. Our plans go into effect, well, this week, I believe. And Sarengar should be quite safe from another incursion for the time being. And during that moment, we'll build up forces. Send a good legion to Karadmoran to make sure the borders are more than secure and that your mines are safe. I'd be quite interested in a tour myself. Perhaps I'll make my way to Steelhammer Stronghold in your absence.
I'm sure they'd welcome you with open arms. Until next time.
So long, Gilroy. And the water shimmers a bit, and the image of Sibelius fades. Finally,
Gilroy, it's dinner time.
anything more in Steelhammer Stronghold?
I don't think so.
You set?
It's
Coolio. So, you guys emerge through the main gates. Probably a bit more than a week, even, if you stuck around for the ceremony, stuck around for your weapons and armor to be upgraded. Probably about 10 days. You guys finally emerge back into the sunlight, the great main gate opening, and for the first time you see natural light stream on in to this space, the Elder Hold. It gives it an entirely different feel, and emerging into the snow and sun, you have to block it from your eyes for a moment to readjust to being outside. Jantel, Clara, Arena, Zorn, Bilberry, Godric, Hiron, and his elves are joining you on the way out. Jordan Lowstone, of course, stayed. He promises that if you're in need, he could send a squad of Karadmor in your direction. Just send word. Specialists who may be able to solve various problems for you. However, he's going to stay by Rune's side as he's going to need a veteran commander for the battles to come along the border. And as you guys make your way on south, you leave the peninsula going to the very neck of it and along the mountains. However, you're not forced to take the ancient and mountainous paths where harpies tend to attack. Instead, you could take the main road, as you can see, down by that collapsed column that blocked the way. Dwarves have been already mining their way on through it and seem to have broken through, permitting a tunnel on the main road. And at the other end of that tunnel sits none other than Hurston, who is tending to the horses, and he turns back towards you, and he goes, "Oh, I was beginning to think this wagon was mine."
Not a chance.
Okay. Noted. We'll always return. Where are we heading?
Suppose Waterwheel first, and then sounds like we'll be heading south.
Back to Waterwheel.
Back to Waterwheel.
God,
wait, have you been there?
I've been around there.
Oh, it's nice.
They probably never let me in, giving me pass, but gods, I hate this country.
We can't go east. We can't really go north.
We gotta go south, I get it. He gives the reins a whip, and your wagon begins moving along south. However, you guys, after 3 days moving along the mountains down the peninsula, come to the Great Lake, where Hiron and his elves say they'll be continuing along the road that goes directly south, whereas you guys, if you were to make your way the way that you know towards Waterwheel and what would be the fastest way, are going to branch off towards the west and along the kind of northern shores of the Great Lake, which is the path you had taken before to get here.
Sure.
And so Hiron, that evening, as you guys separate, stands along the road as Hurston brings the wagon up and brings it to a stop. And you can see he seems to be waiting. He goes, "I suppose this is farewell, friends. It was very fortunate to have you guarding that caravan. It could have gone much worse."
Yes, it did. Certainly could have, and I'm sure you have a lot to talk about once you arrive in Ellenveer.
Yes, you can find my family on the Council of Sumedia. We we've been there for many generations, and you'll always be able to find us there. This was quite the adventure, but I'm ready to go back home. Fields of sunflower and temples are calling to me. Is Clara in the wagon? He's looking at you, Haley. I just want to say goodbye. Just a wave.
Okay.
All right.
I permit it.
Clara jumps on out the back of the wagon, and less so than a wave, she runs on up to him, and they have a quick embrace before Hiram goes, till next time, I suppose. Whether that be tomorrow or in a decade. And he walks on down the road. And makes his way south. And he goes, well, we'll have to be stopping in Old Town. Maybe we'll be there if you make your way towards Alaire.
That's at the south of Caradmore.
Yeah, right near the border. It would be.
This.
Yep, that one.
Gotcha.
And so you guys turn west, making your way along the northern border of the Great Lake. And it is about 2 more weeks of travel. The weather, just fine. In fact, quite agreeable, as it is now midsummer, finally. The days are long, the evenings are rather short and cool. And the sky glows with bands of green and yellow in the evenings. The aurora that seems to be very visible at this time of year. And within those 2 weeks, you finally, one bright midsummer morning, with the bits of grass and whatnot, that silverish grass that grows about this country, waving in the wind, the sun beating down on your back, and you finally come across a familiar sight, water wheel, once more. The lightning gate crackles and sparks. It seems to be fully functional, and yet you know it's not at full power. Morgan's paddle in the background turns, but rather slowly. You figure with Godric being absent, though he joined you guys on the way down. I think I forgot. Did I mention that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he, telling the mayor, actually this was the part I forgot to mention before he left, now that the mayor has her own guard, her own responsibility here in Steelhammer Stronghold, Godric still needs to make the forays into the forest to be able to get the seeds to keep Waterwheel safe. He intends to remain their champion, and he always felt as though he would be more accepted in Waterwheel than in Steelhammer Stronghold. And with a bit of a touching departure, they leave, as he is her most trusted companion. And you guys make your way on back that morning, and at the front gate, you can see a few familiar faces. And Etten, who you know as Royland and Gromit, seems to be arguing with a dwarf on a cart, who you instantly recognize as Limrolt. They aren't slinging fists yet, but they're definitely throwing words at each other. This is about 100 feet down the way from the gate.
Oh, Limrold. Not again. No, don't shoot Limrold. He's my best friend.
You need better friends.
I suppose it depends on what he's
That was a
looking
terrible thing to say. Have you no manners?
No. I ran away from manners. I don't need them now.
And as you approach Jar, you overhear Royland and Gromit yelling down at the cart. He's got his hands up against it. The cart, once again, covered in various exotic feathers and furs. And he gives it a shake real quick, looking at Limrolt, and he goes, "You owe me a drink!" And that was Royland. Gromit goes, "Yeah, 2 drinks!" And Limrolt looks up at him and goes, "I don't owe you nothing, you bastard!"
Oh, Limrold, why am I always paying to get you out of trouble?
What? Jar! Well, this is a surprise. I'm glad to be seeing your face here once again. Get this bastard off of me, would you? Just pay him the gold.
All right, I'll buy the drinks.
Royal and Gromit looking down. You'll get the drinks. Good. We'll be in Rawbeards.
All right.
They begin marching their way on down. Limrolt looks up towards you, giving a hearty laugh. He goes, "Always saving me ass. Jar. We're gonna have to make our way towards Old Town soon. It looks like, well, we got some business to attend to.
Oh, good, that works out, because it appears that a whole lot of us have business in Old Town soon.
Excellent. And I'm guessing there's been some shakeups at Steelhammer Stronghold, he goes.
That would be true, yes.
I'm sure.
There's a new king and new metals, and I am a savior of a dwarven city, so there's that.
And Limroll gives the reins a whip as you guys are walking on down the road. He gives out another bellowing laugh and goes, well, I'm looking forward to reading your report. As he turns on in, bringing the cart towards Rotbeard and the open market, you can see the beloved Thralthane stands guard still. Beside him, two ogres. They have a table out front, and it seems as though there is some sort of arm wrestling bracket going on. A tournament. Thralthane, as you make your way on up, not a very busy day for him, has committed to going through this bracket, slams an ogre's fist on down, breaking the table, which they toss aside, and you see a pile of tables outside the Waterwheel.
Wanna give it a shot or what?
And, they set up another one as Thralthane notices you, the ogre, looking defeated, makes his way back on into town, and just stalks immediately. He goes, "Friends, you finally returned!" Runs on up and grabs you, Erlon, in a great big hug and sets you on down and goes, "Oh, it's so good to see you. It's been busy here. A lot of giant killing. And I think the water wheel is, well, it's nearly like I found it last time."
Well, Godric.
Godric goes, "Alright, well, I'll be taking care of that soon enough. Don't you worry.
Good to hear.
Maybe a evening in Rotbeard's, and I'll make my way on north." Thralthane goes, "Yeah, not too many giants, though. Guessing that's your doing."
A little bit.
Came across a couple.
Killed their leader.
Excellent. I'm glad. It makes my job easier. Not many thieves want to sneak their way in with these types of guard, but giants, well, they'll give it a go. You guys, you make your way on in. I'll be at Rotbeard's later. It's good to see you all.
Good to see you too, Thralthane.
And you guys make your way into town,
Yeah.
passing under the main gate in the palisades. You can see that Rotbeard's is busy as ever this time of year. The minor water wheels all powering a great many of those workshops that process wood, cut up gems, cut up various, or melt iron down. Obviously, still powering a great industry even in the absence of Mayor Benevelt. One of which, the woodworking space, seems to be churning out a lot of tables. So, do you guys... Yeah, at the moment, ever since Thralthane arrived, the tables have been just like... It's a much, much better investment. So, where would you guys like to go? You suspect there's some people to meet in Rotbeard's, obviously, though a lot of them seem to be gathering there for the evening. And you suspect that Singstalter might have something to say up at the Mechanics Union. Okay?
Yeah.
So you make your way on up the plateau on the far side of town and on the western side, going up alongside Morgan's Paddle and the greatest of the water wheels, the large waterfall continuing to splash against it. And though it is still turning, indeed, obviously charging up some of those batteries, it is not spinning as fast as you've seen it spin in the past. And as you go to the Mechanics Union, you enter with a great poof of smoke as normal, a great burst of soot and whatnot, and you see that Singstalter is sitting where that elderly gnome used to sit, at the head. And he looks upon you and goes, "Wow! It's you guys! It's been like a month or something. or more! Time gets all weirded out with you guys. What's been going on?"
I give the same spiel probably.
Yeah. Wow! Well, your arrival is excellent timing because, well, is Godric back?
He is.
Yes.
Thank goodness. I was about to get mobbed by these other gnomes. They would have killed me if... well, if we all died to giants. And you do see those gnomes, which in the past have much judged Singstalter, are busy at their workstations. And as he walks on past, no longer resentment in their eyes, but kind of a begrudging respect. And he goes, the elder, he passed away. He was 897, so it was about his time.
Wow.
It's a long life.
Gnomes.
And now you're in charge.
Of the Mechanics Union, at least here, but this is the coolest Mechanics Union in all of Alaire, so I'm in charge. You got that right, Gilroy.
The greatest mechanic in Alaire.
Wow. Yeah, I get that written on a sign or something.
I knew you could do it.
Yeah, as long as we live, you hear bells ringing. And he goes, through that. Obviously, a sign of giant attack. He goes, I don't know if the lightning gate will be able to keep him out. And you hear a great thumping along the ground. The close march of a great many incoming giants. Up along that side, yeah. Marching, bounding across the field, slamming through farmhouses, they come up to the lightning gate. One of them reaches up along the top, gets shocked by it, but only withdraws for a moment, whereas comparison, you've seen these giants be absolutely fried. Singstalter looks around frantically and goes, any ideas?
You take to the walls. I think I have an idea.
What do you got?
Something a little magic might fix in your lightning gate.
He looks down. All right, let's do it. And, he escorts you on up to the mechanism of Morgan's paddle. You see the great many barrel batteries being filled with electrical charge, though not at the rate that they have in the past. What would you like to do, Gilroy?
I am going to control water.
Oh.
Increase the flow.
Of the waterfall?
Yeah, over the water wheels.
So, Gilroy makes his way before the great pool of water, which Morgan's paddle empties out into, and you can see him pull down with great strength, and the waterfall, straight from the top, doubles in width and comes pouring off of the side of the mountain, splashing onto Morgan's paddle, which gives a great jolt, and then begins spinning very quickly. Singstalter glances out from the side space, which contains the space where all the barrel batteries are charged, and he goes, they're getting charged real quick, like, we're gonna need to move these to the walls. He looks at all of you. He's like, grab a barrel!
Give me 2.
Okay. Throw some athletics or Jar or anyone who would like to not work a barrel. You can actually throw acrobatics to get the palisades ready for people with barrels to approach.
I don't know if I want to rage.
You can rage if you want to. Yeah.
Want to give me strength to carry these barrel batteries or whatever they're called.
What? He goes, last time you called me in, you were killing one of the greatest things I've ever seen, and this time we're carrying barrels.
To kill a lot of giants.
Okay. All right.
Come on.
What are you guys throwing?
15.
Okay.
15.
Okay.
I got a 16 to clear the way.
Nice.
For acrobatics, I did 13.
13? Alright, so, yeah,
No,
Leander...
I'm sorry, 11.
Well, with Jar's assistance.
I'm not very
No!
helpful in this situation. I'm not shooting anything.
No! Yeah, don't know quite what to do. So, Jar, you follow his lead. He's knocking down these ladders to make for a quick approach up onto the palisade. And you see Erwan and Leander busting out of those spaces with the barrel batteries at both of them upon their shoulders. And they are arcing with electricity upon the ground and whatnot. Doesn't seem to damage you as you're pretty well grounded, but it's hitting the things around you, in particular metal posts and whatnot. And as you charge towards the palisade with these barrels, you make your way on up. Manley and Zar beckoning for you guys, lowering ladders so that you have easy access to the palisades. in the background, Gilroy continuously pulling and forcing the river to flow ever faster. And you bring these supercharged batteries up upon the palisade and set them. Singstalter, not far behind you, begins to interlock them with the lightning orbs. And in a matter of seconds, that space over there is filled with an incredible burst arc of lightning, which causes those two orbs to glow red hot in comparison to the others, and the giants out in that field are decimated by this arc of electricity. In fact, the fields outside are just burnt black as the lightning whips back and forth upon them, and those giants fall, successfully having defended Waterwheel once again. Singstalter goes, well, hopefully with Godric back, we won't have to try that again. I have a feeling that almost killed the whole town. But good going, Gilroy. Good going. That was some good stuff.
What a wonderful marriage.
Science and magic.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you ever want to give up the academic or hero work, you and Singstalter could go into business.
Just making electricity.
Yeah. Just making batteries.
Yeah, well, it's got a pretty good market here. I don't know about elsewhere in the world. Anyway,
Nothing better to do, right, Gilroy?
Yes, no. I'm retiring, I'm sorry. I live here now.
I'm heading to Rotbeard's for the night. It's been quite the day. He makes his way into Rotbeard's. Do you guys follow along? As the evening begins to come on up, the sun settling behind the mountains and the moon rising along the fields. You guys enter on into Rotbeard's, and within you can see the entirety of your allies: Zorn, Bilberry, Frolthane, Arena, Clara, Jantel, Limralt, Hurston, Singstalter, and Godric. Royal and Grommet at the bar look towards you, Jar. We're not allies. And, they all seem to have a table together, sharing meat and cheese and drink. It's a very celebratory moment, in stark contrast to your arrival in Karadmoran, which was a bit of mourning. It seems as though everyone is once again in high spirits and quite confident. And Zorn turns towards you, all of you, and goes, very well fought. I don't think anyone else in the land could have done quite what you guys did there. And Steelhammer Stronghold safe once again. And, nearly everyone in the bar gives out a great cry of just a cheerful evening. It seems as though there's quite a party going on. Rotbeard sips away at some syrupy liquid and seems to look towards the ground upon noticing your approach.
I hand him. Did we have him write a? I tried to have him write a letter.
Yeah, but you never learned how to write.
No.
He did it through interpretive dance.
Yeah.
Can you reenact the dance?
I think that's more your skill set, maybe.
I would like to see Leander do it.
Leander hangs his head. I tried, Rotbeard.
Well, you tried.
He'll be fine on his own.
He's got to inherit this place. The business can't go on without him. What?
Have you considered adding a stage?
Oh.
No? Do you think that would entice him?
Make it real dungeony looking. And
Mushrooms.
Add lots of mushrooms.
Mushrooms and a stage.
Yes. Anything else can go on Waterwheel. Why can't you have a mushroom stage?
You know, that's totally true. Yeah. If you think that'll help, just next time you see him.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I know.
Are we trying to trick him?
Well, it seems like he just ends up in random places.
Mushroom places.
Well, if you want him to inherit the place, I mean, make him feel welcome.
I don't know
And it'll
what
help you accept
type of warlock he is, but it seems like his patron makes him end up in those places.
He feels like you will never really accept his art. Maybe this would be a sign, a middle ground. He was at least willing to talk to us about you.
That's true. He generally doesn't talk.
We had noticed.
Okay, well, once again, if you see him, let him know. I want him here, back with his family.
If you need help building it, we know a bunch of dwarves.
That's true.
Who can lend a hand.
Call up
I was
Jordan.
soft-
Yeah, I was gonna say dwarves with special skills.
It's like, Melee has like a special soft spot for like bringing these two together for some reason.
Absolutely.
Like, she's just...
You're like passionate about this. Okay. Well, he heeds your advice and seems to mulls it over. But once again, the gist of it is, let him know I want him home.
Sure, we'll run into him again.
Is it because that's what your parents think?
I don't think you need to know what my parents think.
Shut down!
Put it out
No,
there.
you made an
It says
attempt,
plenty.
no.
I feel like.
So you guys have some drinks and some food with the rest of your group, who seemingly are much warmer to you now, Jar. The questioning and glances from Chantel and whatnot have seemed to stop at this point, and you're finally feeling rather accepted here among these people. However, Zorn and Bilberry, they wrap up their drinks, and Bilberry looks up towards the group and he goes, so, what the hell we got going on next? And Chantal goes, shh, I don't think we should quite discuss that until, well, last I know, the rooms up above us, they very well may have the same enchantments as those rooms in the tavern that we were in Sarangar those years ago, or months ago. We may be able to speak a bit more privately up there, even away from distant prying eyes. And so she begins to lead the entirety of the group up into the rooms, and you can see her room in particular has a familiar rune, the one that causes no sound to emit nor enter those spaces. And as everyone shuffles inside, kind of getting clogged on up due to Fraldane's size, as well as just the amount of folks in the group, everyone takes a seat, and Bilber goes, so what's the plan? You guys seem to be taking the lead on all this, and it's working out pretty well, so what do you want to do?
Well, I think it seems like we need to head south. We might have to stop in Old Town. After that, whatever happens there, head down to Ellenbeer and I guess get in contact with whoever we can, really.
Do we know of any Order of Swords people in Ellenbeer?
Not specifically, but you do know
It's like they're on the court.
the Council of Sumedia. The Council of Sumedia is no doubt where they would be located.
And we have other contacts there.
Yes, the other remaining member of the Silver Keepers.
Yes,
Yes,
that's right.
a vampire hunter. And I overheard that alchemist said he was making his way there too.
Yes.
He had some studies.
Don't overlook Old Town. It's my home. It's a nice place. You'll like.
And that's what Limrold goes. He speaks up.
Limrold's in here!
Yeah.
he pokes his head behind Fraldane.
Old Town's the way that I intended to head, and it's just about the only big village in between here and Ellenbeer. Yeah, lots to do.
Did they hate you there too?
No, it's a lot more dwarves. And well, a lot more dwarves anyway. Zorn, looking towards the floor, grumbles, "Not looking forward to going south." And Fralthane looks over towards him and goes, "Well, why would that be?" Zorn goes, "South is where I escaped from." Bilberry pats him on the shoulder and goes, "Where I escaped from too, but well, hopefully we'll all just be able to glean all over that and get together more of these Order of Swords peoples." Clara, finally speaking up, goes, "I feel as though we have, well, a beacon of hope in the north here now. all those kingdoms that border Farrenwell that have suffered so much to them. They seem ready to stand for themselves. It's very encouraging.
Yes, and I feel like Alaire will be a walk in the park, hopefully.
Yantel speaks up for a moment and goes, Alaire, it's an interesting kingdom. Much like Karadmoran, well, protective of their own. The elves have always lived there, Alaire. It is their ancestral home. Even beyond us, the Wood Elves, who separated from them 3,000 years ago and trekked to Pyanathra, the hidden kingdom on the east coast. However, suspiciously, Alaire has not very much been attacked by Farrenwell. Their legions may have overlooked them, as the elves tend to keep to themselves, but with their rate of expansion, it did come as note to me that they would march right on past. I do suspect that some agreement may have been made. Not every member of the Council of Somalia may be as willing to listen to us or as desperate as Clan Monar or the Mayor.
Yes.
Why would it be?
Politics is at least less dangerous than dungeon delving, right?
Coming from someone who does not have a family in politics, obviously.
Very true. Upon hearing
I would
that,
much rather do this.
it's like a shiver down your spine, mainly. Yeah, hearing those words. And Arena goes, well, in the least, we do know Hiron Ovalas. He said he was on the council, and there's our lost member of the Silver Keepers. He's got to be an ally of sorts. And, well, people warned of some vampire corruption. That may be a way to ingratiate ourselves with slaying vampires in a kingdom of some of the most devoted people on all of Alaire. I have a feeling they must appreciate that, right? Not to mention, I have a personal begrudging against them.
Vampire?
Just in that, Leander, you know, she was trained to kill undead.
Yeah.
As a cleric, she's a life cleric, and so she obviously has hatred for them. And Person goes, well, I know the way to Old Town like the back of my hand, but when we make it back down to Alaire, that's a totally new kingdom for me. Of course, so far as I heard, it's all daisies and sunflowers and big old coliseums and whatnot, so I'm looking forward to it. It's been all ferns and mountains for the past 10 decades for me.
You don't love that?
Not anymore.
I'm not excited for the warmth.
I will
That's
miss
true.
having a mountain over my head, but it was good while it lasted.
I am so excited for Alaire.
It brings us closer to Nelferon's, so I suppose that's a start.
Is this the school that forgot to teach you Dwarvish?
I was too busy learning to go into other dimensions.
Well, you can't talk to anybody.
Not Nelon.
Father.
In Alaire, he can.
Sing Salter, who is sitting next to Godric, finally pops up, pipes up, and he goes,
There are way too many people.
there's a
That's right.
lot of people in this room. This is all your allies. He goes, yeah, well, I'm thinking, obviously I gotta stay here.
We
but-
should just have them clear out the rest of the tavern. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I cannot get over how many people are in this room.
Yeah.
Sing Salter.
Sing Salter's like sitting on Godric's lap. He goes, well, so who's going? Who's staying? And Godric goes, you know I must stay, friends, but when the time comes.
This is Gilroy's new home.
Yep. Stay in here.
When your armies march out of Karadmoran, I'd like to head one of them. I'll be at the ready.
I'm sure the people of Sarngar would probably love a Goliath at their side.
Yes. Although I wonder how the elves are. I haven't heard from my father in quite some time. So I may have to reach out for him because
Oh yeah.
As far as I know, the humans haven't had much contact with them in a long time.
No. There has been quite a few happenstance over there, though another group has. You have a sense they're safe, though you do feel you've grown so much. Now might be the time to at least send message.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So you let that be known. And Gralthane, Singsalter goes, well, if Godric's gonna stay here to keep being the champion, keep this town safe, and collect the seeds, I guess I gotta stay here to maintain the mechanics union and stuff, but I'll try and send inventions your way, or at least the ones I make that are useful. And if you need some kind of special help with something mechanical or whatever, maybe I'll make the trip someday. If you come across a mechanical dragon or something, something really cool like that, some kind of challenge, I got you covered.
Cool.
Yes, and you three are more than reliable enough.
And Frolfane, he stands up and he goes, it has been a many good days here in Waterwheel. I do like this country, and the ogres respect me. It's a life I always dreamt of living. But I would gladly follow you. It's your decision.
Everyone cool with Frothing staying? Just
Who else would
along?
slay all the tables
I
when
think
you're not here?
I think Waterwheel needs you, and I'm sure we'll see you again. I'm sure Godric, and I kind of nod to Godric. You'll definitely have to bring him along when the time comes.
Absolutely. And Frolfane goes, well, unlike Godric or Singstalter, I'm still at your beck and call. Send message, and I will march to you.
That'd be awesome.
Can you imagine?
He's this big, huge dude.
He will do it.
On the way.
Just one thing on his mind, getting to wherever we are.
So, Zorn, Bilberry, Arena, Clara, Gentel, Limralt, Hurston, they all stand up. So then, we'll be making our way to Ellenveer. So it shall be. For the evening, you get more rest, and in the morning, you set on the wagon and begin making your way east, back along the southern side of the lake, towards what's known as Old Town.
Could we stop and get replacement scarves first?
Yeah, we gotta see the...
Oh yes, your companion I forgot to bring into the room. So you go to the silks and finery shop, and that Tabaxi. The Tabaxi is behind the counter once more. What brings you back, my friends?
We lost our scarves.
Oh, it cannot be true. Well, I will have that fixed up in a moment. He runs into the back and gets identical scarves. I had a set made just in case. You adventurers always mess things up. Bailey, I can see you stewing back there. How is the dress?
It's wonderful.
Excellent. Anything more?
That will be fine. Thank you.
Very well.
I was gonna ruin something. I'm not going to.
You think about it.
Think about it.
All right, and that morning, once again, with new scarves and finery, you guys board your wagon. Your good friends Zorn and Bilberry walking alongside, still chatting about their time in Caradmore and what they've learned and what they've seen. Bilberry seems to have had a lot of fun here. He recounts tales of thieving from Galdoon, the Hobgoblin Lord, just general robbery and whatnot he's gone through with, though all in good heart. Zorn seems contemplative about the road ahead. If you're going to be curving on south, making your way back towards his home that he escaped slavery from, there's a lot to think about for him. Arena and Clara in the back of the wagon enjoy their day in the sun, and Arena seems to be very, very much so anticipating seeing Ellenveer, and expresses to you, Leander, how much she desires to witness the temples, the temples that she has read so much upon. And though you guys have come close to Alaire in your travels, you never made your way to Sunabia. And she's just heard it's the most beautiful city on all of Alaire, and she cannot wait to see it with you.
I think Leander shares the same.
Yeah,
sentiment.
oh, absolutely, yeah.
I think he kind of, at least I would think, him and Arena try and like build it up for Clara.
Sure, yeah, oh, yeah, you're getting Clara pretty hyped back here.
The temples are 1,000-foot tall ceilings and golden embroidery on the walls.
Yeah, even what you think might be exaggeration.
Yeah.
And Limerol rides ahead. He leads the way with his wagon of furs and feathers. He along with Jantel, who walks alongside him. And when you're speaking with Limerol one day along the road, Jar, she walks up alongside you and goes, "You're an interesting fellow, Jar."
I've been told that many times in my life. Thank you.
Good you take it as a compliment. Well, though the road we travel together is probably going to be quite long, I want you to know I won't fear your dagger in my sleep if you won't fear mine.
That sounds fair.
Very well.
Excellent.
She keeps the conversation short, but you get the sentiment that you guys have an agreement. Limerol, on the other hand, goes on and on about the road and the terrible fire giants. And
I missed this so much.
as you guys take the very same road, the field upon which you rested on that plateau, seeing the frost giants for the first time, making your way along that bend of the mountains on the south side of the lake, and I think that is where we will call it. Your journey to Old Town, and your allies left, allies gained, and we're getting ready for some big stuff here in the lands of Alaire. Anything more you guys want to do before we close session, or are we going to call it there?
I'd say that's good there.
One morning on the road, Gilroy approaches Jar and says good morning in Dwarvish.
Did you work on that all week long?
Just in my spare time.
It is good to see you expanding your horizons.
Yes. Now I must be going. His comprehend language wears off.
Excellent. And the sun rises on a new day on the road towards more adventure. And that's it for this arc of the Lands of Alaire. I'm very excited to pick up next week for more. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed this huge adventure that has finally at least gotten to this point. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well.
No, it was fun.
It's been some good stuff. So, finally, TJ, wrap up this season for me.
Yes, thank you for joining us for Season 2 of The Lands of Alaire. We picked up a couple followers tonight. Thank you so much to our new followers. We're doing a t-shirt giveaway from our comic and game shop at 250 followers. We're at 209 right now.
Awesome.
As I mentioned, this is broadcast live from our comics and game shop in Whitehall, New York. We're open 5 days a week. You can find Ian and myself behind the counter, as well as these lovely faces aren't any strangers to being in the shop either. So yeah, you can pay us a visit anytime. If you're watching on Twitch, consider subscribing to us or donate some bits or something. I mean, no obligation, but it goes a long way.
Is appreciated.
Yeah, and it's very much appreciated by the cast and crew. If you're on YouTube, consider subscribing for free there. We're trying to hit 300 subscribers. We're at like 295 as of time of airing. So yeah, we'd love to hit that sometime soon.
No doubt, yeah. Throw us a like or comment.
Yeah, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the social medias. Pretty much search Freakopolis, you'll find us there. If you're in chat, they're in there now.
Nice.
And Freakopolis.com has a bunch of cool...
Yeah, you can keep up with us there too. All our events and upcoming Lands of Alaire, all that kind of cool stuff. And joined by gaming.
We are joined by gaming. We promote positivity in the gaming community. We're also raising money for the Children's Hospital at Albany Medical Center. If you're watching this live, today's actually Pay It Forward Day, worldwide day of kindness. So if you wanted to help us reach our goal and donate to that hospital, there are links on joinedbygaming.com and on our Facebook page, facebook.com/joinedbygaming.
There you go, joinedbygaming.com. And we also have, what was it, Pay It Forward Day?
Yes.
All right, so yeah, definitely look into that. It's for a charitable cause. Awesome stuff from some awesome people. Finally, thank you very much to our father who puts in. He has to sit there and do all the production while we get to play this game. So no lack of appreciation going there. And finally, have a good night. Thanks so much for watching The Lands of Alaire, and we will see you next season.
In a week.
Yep.